If you've been paying attention, like yesterday they had like a rally?
Yeah, it was a climate change rally. Like they're not wasting any time. They have always been pushing for this Green New Deal. We know that AOC and the squad, that is one of their top agenda items. Now, it was a big question during the campaigns whether or not a Biden administration would go along with this.
Would accept it. Pretty much AOC and all the friendly squad members are saying, hey, don't worry. Our number one priority is to get this stuff through that we've already heard previously. AOC say, hey, we can push him far to the left. We're going to be able to do that. So now that's the question. Because on paper, a Joe Biden presidency, if we were to go back to a 2005, a 2001, you see this guy, he's a definitely a Democrat, but one that you like, he's like typical Washingtonian, like maybe a member of the swamp, but like, you're not the most progressive of guys. Right. Actually, that was some of the negative press he got, was not necessarily being the most progressive, one of the creators of the Hyde Amendment and all those things. But we saw it during the campaign, him slowly go more and more to the left. And then obviously he's got Kamala Harris. And I think that's the concern for a lot of people. When your vice president is so historically one-sided and so historically progressive, what that is going to look like. Part of the Green New Deal, part of what their agenda is when in terms of, helping global warming and supporting environmentalism. And, they're part of me. I'll be honest, like, I'm not a total anti-environment person. I'm kind of like, I don't drive an electric car, but I'm not going to be opposed to driving an electric car one day. I'm not super progressive on it, but I'm also not like, let's destroy the earth for the heck of it.
Right. Well, conservatives for a long time have been leaders in conservation efforts. Yeah. Like, if you think about all the organizations like Ducks Unlimited that spend millions and millions of dollars for preservation of wetlands in America, and these are conservative organizations. So they use the climate moniker and the Green New Deal issues to try to make it seem like it's just about climate change. And I think to a mainstream audience that may play well.
Do you like this?
Climate action is tied to reproductive justice.
She was throwing out all these things, and she had to put that one specifically
in.
there.
You always have to go for the abortion argument in the middle of stuff that's completely unrelated. I mean, legitimately, completely unrelated. Reproductive rights are tied to environmentalism. It's just something that is bizarre and very... I will say this, like, you don't want to say the communism and socialism world, but that does sound like a population control.
Right, well, that goes back to Margaret Sanger's original intent.
If your version is
environmentalism,
if your version of environmentalism is population control, then sure.
Right.
Hang your hat on that. I mean, that is an insane thing to say. You can easily make fun of something like the Green New Deal because it sounds ridiculous with the cow farts and with all of that stuff that they throw in there. I mean, it's just that's something that you hear often. But when you start looking at the serious nature of what they're talking about, you're talking about population control, you're talking about eugenicism, you're talking about things that are, at the end of the day, could cause great death and destruction to humankind.
Right.
It's bizarre. It's really bizarre.
They put this messaging out right now when they're trying to influence what they believe will be the incoming Biden administration with the what the picks are going to be for cabinet positions and for other executive branch positions, that they put these things out there because they are drawing their line in the sand for the party. Sure, AOC won in her very liberal district in New York, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the country is.
She's very well aware.
That way.
She's very well aware of that too. I don't know if you saw. She had an article in Vanity Fair a few weeks back. I think it's the cover story. And at the end of the article, they're talking about her father who passed away. It's a sad story. And they said, like, what do you think about your father would think? And she said, if he were around today, I think he'd make fun of me incessantly, and he'd be the first one to call me a communist. She's like, he'd be in my corner. But this is someone who knows what I'm saying is, even in her own. That means there's something inside of you going, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's probably called a conscience.
Yeah.
Like if knowing how you grew up. My dad would call me a communist, that may just be your conscience speaking to you saying, maybe I shouldn't be a communist.